That was a heartbreaker, but you could see some things working. Caufield is really on pace to break his record, and I am not feeling well at all. But let's recap the game, go over some of my thoughts, drink lots of liquid, and let's talk about it. $102.5. What's it supposed to be? I've got to do this kind of quick. Because I need to get to bed, take some nighttime medication, and just call it a night. But I can't leave you guys hanging. So don't leave me hanging. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. The Montreal Canadiens faced off against the New York Islanders tonight. Martin St. Louis' team against Patrick Roy's team. This was a game that, going into it, both teams had a lot to prove. And while in the end, the Islanders won 4-3, I'd like to be optimistic and say that the Montreal Canadiens proved a lot more than what the Islanders did tonight. I'm not going to change the format. I'm going to go through the recap of the game, show you a bunch of gameplay, and at the end, I'll give you my impressions of the game. But also along the way, I'll comment on some of the goals and plays. But before we get started, what did I tell you about the injuries? Was I right? Was I right about Slafkovsky? Was I right about Gooley? Was I right about Matheson? What did I tell you? You got to listen. You got to read between the lines a little bit. These media types, they think they're smart, but they don't fool everyone. All right, well, without any further ado, let's start this unenviable task. And I'm just now realizing how long this video might be. I was being serious about having a fever, by the way. I think it's gone down a little bit, but I hope you guys give me a break and let me get through this recap kind of quick. So in the first period, the Islanders crack things open with a power play goal on the behalf of Bo Horvat. Son of a Horvat. That goal comes at 14:32. Then not long after, Kyle Palmieri buries his second of the season. Feed from Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson's racking up points again. He was my fantasy pool hero last season. But then as the period is in its dying minutes, the New York Islanders draw a penalty. Patrick Roy is pissed. You got to believe he's some sort of an old school coach, right? Like yelling at players in the dressing room. And before the buzzer to end this first period, Caufield buries his 5th goal on the power play.
Islanders have not taken a lot of penalties this season. That's just the 10th one they've taken as Matheson gets it down to Caufield. Shot scores!
Power play is back. That's the end of the first period. Moving on to the second period. It doesn't take long for the Canadiens to find the back of the net. But guess who?
Here comes Jake Evans trying to press his way through. He does. Got it back for Josh Anderson. Tipped it wide. Mailloux scores!
Logan Mailloux, of course. And what a nice goal for your first goal in the NHL. He's got to be happy with that one. And I'm happy for him. I love seeing these young players succeed. I mean, that's the story of Montreal, right? You want to see these young players succeed. Then, probably the most painful thing happens. The Habs are forced to fight tooth and nail in their defensive zone for over 3 minutes. It was such a long defensive zone segment that I needed to go take blood pressure medication. They couldn't get a handle of the puck. They couldn't get their opportunities to clear the puck. And really, they weren't attacking the puck. This made me think about, would this look different if Caden Gooley was playing tonight and on this shift? But the Habs did stand out defensively tonight, I thought, aside from the first period, allowing those 2 goals. And really the best defense was Caden Primo, but we'll get to that. I may actually put up, if I haven't already, I may put up that defensive effort by the Montreal Canadiens and show you exactly how long and unbearable it was. But YouTube might hit me with a copyright strike, so there might be like an overlay on it or something like that. Ooh, that's a lot of work though, considering I really need to get to bed. I might do it, I might not. So Logan Mailloux is the only goal scorer in the second period. We're moving on to the third. 15 minutes into the third period, it looks like we might be going into overtime, but that's when Anders Lee scores a nice backhand goal and put the Islanders up 3-2. But it's not over. With basically only a couple of minutes remaining, Caufield puts another one in with the help of Suzuki and Slafkovsky.
Suzuki for Slafkovsky. Hands it off. Caufield's got it. Scores! Caufield's shot sneaks through.
We're into overtime now. Overtime is another painful event, and the cause of that pain is Kirby Dach. And if you were hurt by Kirby Dach's egregious penalty, you can imagine how Martin St. Louis felt. More on that in a minute. But the Canadiens burn off that penalty. Just a minute into OT, Hutson and Caufield have the opportunity to end the game. They can't do it. And something bothered me on this play. Brock Nelson lost his stick. He goes down in the corner, and as Hutson is trying to jump back into the play, he extends his leg out and trips Hutson. There was a couple of missed penalties. A really bad one that I wasn't able to find, where Dach is entering the offensive zone and a New York Islanders player hits the puck over the boards into the netting, and no delay of game was called. Dach looked angry. So they kill off the penalty in overtime. We're on to a shootout. You got to feel pretty confident if you're the Habs. A lot of these young players are very skilled puck handling players, flashy. And you got to think if Varlamov doesn't have a knowledge bank of what Lane Hutson's going to do in a shootout, or Emil Heineman. But it goes the distance, 9 painful rounds. After Noah Dobson scores on Primo, it's up to Logan Mailloux, and Mailloux can't put it in. It would have been such a great story. But that's how it ended. The one thing I'll say about the shootout, I'm not going to go over the entire shootout. It was really cool. I might do a video tomorrow about the shootout. Dach was absent from the shootout. Why do you think Dach was absent from that shootout? Why would Martin St. Louis choose to put out Kapanen, Heineman, Mailloux? Well, I think it was a torturous benching after having taken that penalty in overtime. So I guess we'll start there. I don't agree with what St. Louis did there. This might be nitpicking a little bit, but if that was his intention, bench him because he took a bad high sticking penalty in overtime. You're not just punishing him, you're punishing the whole team. Dach is a good stick handler. I don't know what his shootout stats are, and I'm too sick to look for it right now. I worry that that was a selfish move by St. Louis. And it pains me to say because I really mostly agree with St. Louis' calls. And I wonder if in post-game, he talked about it with members of the press. Oh my gosh. Am I going to watch that? Am I seriously going to watch that?
Ben là, j'ai pensé à Mailloux après. Les jeunes, ils scorent, fait que let's go. Non, je suis content pour eux autres. Ça aurait été le fun quand on a eu une opportunité de gagner. Je pense 2 fois. Ça aurait été le fun de marquer puis gagner pour... parce qu'on... avec tout ce qui s'est passé à soir, si on aurait gagné ce match-là, on l'aurait mérité. C'est juste qu'on n'a pas été chercher le point d'extra.
Faire du millage avec la question de Renault, même si un point qui est là, t'as-tu le temps d'apprécier pour avoir du fun parce que t'as envoyé Hutson aussi.
All right, so for all my unilingual friends, he basically said that it was fun choosing certain players. He said more than what I provided in the clip, but he said he was happy with his decisions for players. So it would have made a really good story if one of them would have gotten the goal. At least that's how I interpreted it. I'm not primarily a French speaker, mais je suis de Nouveau-Brunswick, alors mon français c'est pretty darn spectacle, on dirait. What else do I want to say about that game? Primo was a goat. Metal Charlo, I saw your comment on the that old video right after the game. He apologized for talking shit about Primo. That was funny. Yeah, if I was Martin St. Louis, I would start Primo next game. He deserves a little run, you know? Demonstrate his ability. He might not get very many of these opportunities, but give him the opportunities when he's running hot. I'm pretty sure he finished with a 0.917 save percentage. That's really good. So roll the hot goalie. I want to talk about some of the things I really liked. I really liked seeing Mailloux get his first goal. He was throwing the body more. Suzuki and Caufield all got points tonight. They weren't the supplemental point getters. They were the primary point getters, which is, I think, very important for that first line. And they did play some really good D once they shook off the uneasiness of the first period. I could go more. It's actually almost 2 o'clock here. So I really got to end it there, guys. I'm not feeling good at all. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video. And as always, I'll see you down below in the comments.